Hey everyone, today we're talking about objection handling with respect. One of the mistakes that agents make is they think that objections are a chance to attack, to go out and smash an objection to overcome it. And that really may work in a quick sale, a 5-minute sale at a door, or if you're trying to sell a quick thing like a DVD player on a shelf. But if you're trying to help somebody buy their most important possession or sell their most important possession for their family, it often is not going to be the right strategy for you. What they're looking for is a consultant, looking to hire you to be their person to assist them through the process of selling and buying a home. So you need to make sure that when objections come your way, that you handle it with respect. Not only will that get you more business and more referrals, but it makes your business a lot easier and more fun to work with. So, a couple key points. First, listen 2 times more than talking. The key to handling objections with respect is to use your ears and your mouth in that ratio. Make sure you're listening to what the person's actually objecting to. Often we assume we hear 2 or 3 trigger words and we go, oh, I know what the answer is, and bang, we fire off our automatic program response. And that is not listening with respect. That's not actually hearing the objection. That's just listening and then not actually responding in a true, effective way. So the first thing you want to do when hearing an objection, so I'm going to focus in on listing appointments. So there's a lot of different times you're going to touch the consumer in the marketplace. Let's focus on one for some specific examples. When you're at a listing appointment and you're going through your listing pitch, sometimes the consumer may fire back with an objection midway through the presentation. Like they may say, let's say you're talking about open houses, and they're like, oh, no, I don't want any open houses. So instead of continuing with your presentation, which is the correct way to handle objections during a presentation, often we are inclined to be diverted or get off track and then start attacking that objection. And not only will that make you miss important things in your presentation, but it really gives control of the conversation to the person you're speaking to, as opposed to you maintaining control as a professional. So when somebody throws out an objection like, oh, I don't want open houses, don't respond back with any sort of a counter objection or really inquiry. Instead say, that's fair, that's a good area of concern, I'm going to write that down right here, I'm going to cover that through my presentation, and if I don't answer it to your satisfaction, can we come back to it afterwards? Does that sound fair to you, Mr. and Mr. Seller? And they're going to say yes most of the time, and then you can proceed on. If they say no, then of course you need to dig a little bit deeper. Why? Why not? Why can't I continue forward with my presentation? I really will cover this throughout the presentation. So the first thing you want to do is you want to quarantine that objection, that area of concern, and move it off to the end of the presentation so that you don't disrupt your plan, and quite frankly, you're going to cover that objection most often during your presentation. Next, repeat concerns. So you've gone through the whole presentation, and now you're at the end of the presentation, and you want to make sure that you actually circle back. Even if you've covered the objection, you still want to bring it up again just to make sure there's no lingering thoughts about it. So I would get to the end of the presentation, I would pull up my sheet where I wrote down the area of concern they had, and I'd say, okay, so you were mentioning earlier that you're concerned about having open houses. Did I cover that for you? And they may say yes, move on, no more objection. If they say no, or if there's any hesitation at all, start digging deeper. So repeat the concern that they said. So it sounds like you do not want open houses. Is that correct? They'll say, yes, I do not want open houses. Clarify, why don't they want open houses? There may be many, many reasons why they don't want open houses. Maybe they had a friend get robbed during an open house. Maybe they just think that it's a waste of time, that only neighbors are going to come through the property. There's many, many reasons why they don't want to have open houses. So clarify. You're telling me you don't want an open house. Let me understand why you don't want open houses. What's your concern with the open house? And they may tell you, well, I don't want my neighbors coming through the property, my looky-loos, or I don't want someone to rob my house. So when somebody gives you the clarifying answer, sort of clarifying their concern, now you can respond to the true objection. So if they say that they're worried about somebody stealing stuff from them when they open house, you can respond back with, security. Well, just so you know, at every open house, we require everybody to sign in so that we know who they are. If you'd like, I can ask for ID as well at the door so we make sure we know who's coming through your property. There's a very low risk of something happening in that situation. We want to protect ourselves as well as your property. Does that make sense to you? Do you feel better about that? If that's an objection. Maybe their objection is, I don't like the neighbors coming through my house. Again, you can respond back with, well, your neighbor can call me and book a private showing and see the house anyways. So really all you're doing is limiting exposure to potential buyers. Is that really in your best interest? Because those neighbors are going to come anyways if they really want to see your house. Why don't we do an open house, get as many people through as possible, and that way it just doesn't get in the way of your personal life. You don't have to book private showings for those people. They can all come at a set time and date that you've already picked. Does that make sense to you? And again, they may either say, yes, that sounds great, thank you so much for addressing my actual concern, and let's move forward. Or they may say, no, I still don't want open houses, in which case you can say, absolutely no problem at all. My job is to make you have a great experience, so let's do it the way you want to do it. At the end of the day, you're listening to them, you're clarifying, so you actually are speaking to them on a human level, connecting with their true objection, and then responding in kind. The key is to clarify what the objection is. We often think We know what the objection is by hearing 2 or 3 trigger words, and that's just not right. We don't know. We may be right sometimes, but other times we're wrong, and we lose the client, we lose the opportunity. So if you want to handle objections with respect, it's really, really key. First you clarify it, then you repeat the concern so that they actually understand you're talking about the same thing. Then you clarify what the specifics of that concern are, because I guarantee you're not going to hear the full concern up front. And then you respond with your objection handle. And that's how you handle objections with respect.